BME, greater than 20. Summer 2022, Chicago, working nights at a small bookstore on Clark Street. Job was supposed to be boring, just shelves, dust, and endless customer questions. Then came Sarah, 19, my coworker, smile too bright, eyes sharper than she realized. From day one I felt it. Something pulling, something heavier than just colleagues. We closed together late one night, fluorescent lights buzzing, clock ticking toward 10. She reached for a book on the top shelf, her hand brushing mine accidentally. The touch stopped both of us cold, silence swallowing the usual banter instantly. I looked down, her eyes locked on me. No joke, no smile, just heat. My throat went dry, fingers twitching, every muscle torn between stepping back or staying still. I knew if I pulled away now, the moment would disappear forever. The next few days we acted normal, jokes at the counter, casual shifts like always. But every time she passed by, her eyes lingered, mine catching hers in quiet sparks. Laughter filled the shop, but beneath it tension pressed heavy, like static before a storm. Every brush of her shoulder, every handoff of books, felt more loaded than words allowed. I caught myself timing breaks with hers, pretending it was coincidence when it never was. She'd lean against the counter, talking about classes, but her gaze never drifted away. It was dangerous. Coworkers caught in something we couldn't admit, not without consequences. Rumors would fly, jobs on the line, and yet temptation grew sharper every shift. I lay awake at night replaying that first touch, wondering if she did too. The store suddenly felt smaller, every aisle a trap of what-ifs and almosts. And deep down I knew it was only a matter of time before something broke. Friday night rolled around, store nearly empty, summer air heavy through cracked front door. We finished closing, lights dimmed, register counted, only hum of AC filling the silence. Sarah looked at me suddenly. Want to go up to the roof after shift? I hesitated, then nodded, my chest already burning with everything left unsaid. We climbed the narrow stairs, door creaking open to a skyline lit by city glow. Sitting on the ledge, legs dangling, the sound of traffic mixed with her quiet breathing. Her knee brushed mine lightly, staying there, not moving away, daring me to notice. I reached slowly, hand brushing her waist, waiting for her to pull back instantly. Instead she froze, breath hitching, then leaned closer, shoulder pressing against mine. The silence was deafening, louder than horns below, charged with 1,000 unspoken words. Second peak slammed in. I realized we were far past just work friends now, and my hand stayed where it was, holding the weight of something dangerous. The whole weekend I couldn't focus, brain stuck replaying her knee pressed against mine. Every what-if circled back to the rooftop, her breath, her choice not to move. She texted casually, memes, jokes, pretending nothing happened, but her tone felt sharper. I stared at my phone too long, thumbs typing then deleting messages over and over. Work Monday felt heavier, alls crowded with books that suddenly felt like hiding spots. When she laughed at a customer's joke, her eyes slid to mine just a second. It was enough, confirmation that Friday night hadn't been some dream I invented. But it also lit the fear. If anyone saw, if rumors started, we'd be done. She stacked books higher than needed, sleeves rolled, every movement sharper to me than thunder. Our manager passed by clueless, while sparks practically burned holes in the counter between us. I realized then it wasn't about if we'd break the line, but when. And the waiting felt almost as unbearable as the risk itself. That night after work, Sarah lingered by the door, fingers tapping the counter nervously. "Walk me home," she asked, voice casual but eyes saying something else entirely. We stepped into the humid air, Chicago buzzing, neon lights reflecting off rain-slick sidewalks. Her shoulder brushed mine, again and again, and neither of us shifted away. Halfway down Clark Street, she stopped suddenly, looking up at me, biting her lip. "Logan, if anyone finds out about this, we're screwed," she whispered. I swallowed hard, heartbeat slamming. Then maybe no one can find out. For a second, she just stared, then smiled faintly, like daring me to prove it. We kept walking, closer than before, every step louder than the traffic passing us. By the time we reached her building, the air between us was electric. She lingered at the door, keys in hand, eyes locked with mine. And I knew, lines were already crossed, even if nothing else happened tonight. The following week was torture, shifts dragging with stolen glances and near touches. Sarah laughed too loud at my jokes, eyes flicking to the manager nervously. I carried stacks of books past her just to feel her brush against me. Every casual gesture looked like routine, but underneath, it was fire waiting to ignite. During lunch, she leaned closer than needed, whispering, "You're gonna get us caught." I grinned, whispering back, "Maybe you like the risk more than you admit." Her cheeks flushed, but she didn't pull away, sipping her coffee like nothing happened. Later that night, I found her shelving alone, music from her phone barely audible. She swayed slightly to the rhythm, humming, hair falling into her face. I stepped closer, reaching to take a book from her, fingers grazing hers deliberately. She froze, then let her hand linger on mine, eyes lifting slowly. And in that moment, the bookstore felt smaller than ever, like a secret cage. Friday came again, shifts almost done, store quiet except for the faint hum of lights. Sarah stacked books near the register, her movements slower, like she was stalling on purpose. I finished sweeping, leaned on the counter, watching her, heartbeat faster with every second. She finally looked at me, eyes steady. "Roof again," her voice soft but clear. I nodded before thinking, chest tight, adrenaline spiking like I was already climbing stairs. We slipped out the back, narrow stairwell creaking, rooftop door groaning open to the city. Lights stretched for miles, Chicago buzzing below, but all I saw was her silhouette. She sat on the edge, legs dangling, wind catching her hair, face turned toward me. I joined her slowly, knee brushing hers again, this time on purpose, no excuses left. She didn't move away, didn't laugh, just inhaled sharply like holding back everything at once. My hand found her waist again, steadier now, waiting for her to push me off. Instead, she leaned closer, her head nearly resting on my shoulder in the humid night. Silence wrapped us tighter than words ever could, every breath shared, every second louder. "Logan," she whispered finally, "this is dangerous." Her voice cracked halfway through the sentence. I swallowed hard, eyes fixed on the skyline. "Then why does it feel right?" She didn't answer immediately, just let her fingers slide slowly against mine on the ledge. I turned, saw her biting her lip, eyes bright, daring me to move closer. "If this is a mistake," she started, voice trembling, "then I want to make it anyway." Her confession hit harder than any warning, my pulse slamming louder than the city noise. I leaned in, slow, almost testing if she'd flinch, but she didn't. Her lips brushed mine for a second, quick, scared, then pressed again stronger. Hands tangled, breath sharp, the rooftop spinning, every rule breaking in one stolen kiss. When we finally pulled apart, she laughed softly, shaky. "We're really screwed now, huh?" I grinned, chest burning. "Yeah, but I don't regret it for a second." The following days felt like walking a tightrope, every shift charged with silent sparks. Sarah and I barely spoke more than usual, but every glance told the real story. She brushed past me in aisles, her hand grazing mine too long to be accidental. Customers came and went, clueless, while our little world burned hotter behind polite smiles. I caught her biting her lip while shelving, eyes flicking up to catch me staring. We'd laughed too quickly at dumb jokes, covering the fact we were both terrified. Every second felt like we were one slip away from being caught. Still, neither of us pulled back, both addicted to the risk as much as the touch. One night she texted, "Meet me after close?" Heart pounding just reading her name. I agreed instantly, no hesitation, though nerves coiled tight in my stomach all evening. By the time the doors locked, I knew something bigger was waiting on that roof. And deep down, I knew neither of us would stop this time. We climbed the stairs again, laughter forced, both too aware of what was coming. On the rooftop, the city stretched below, lights flickering, air warm with late summer heat. Sarah stood near the ledge, arms crossed, like bracing herself against the night. I walked up, close enough to feel her breath, waiting for her to push back. Instead, she whispered, "I don't want to pretend anymore," eyes fixed steady on mine. The words broke me open, my chest tight, all my excuses gone instantly. I cupped her face, tentative, and she leaned in without hesitation, lips crashing into mine. This kiss wasn't shy, desperation, months of silence breaking apart in one sharp moment. Her hands clutched my shirt, pulling me closer, heat radiating, Rooftop spinning out of focus. We broke apart only to breathe, foreheads pressed, hearts pounding like drums. Logan, she said shakily, if anyone finds out, but her lips found mine again. And in that moment, I knew we were past the point of return. After that night, the bookstore felt completely different, every corner humming with memory. Sarah avoided long conversations at work, but her eyes told the story every time. When she handed me books, her fingers lingered, silent reminders of what we'd done. I tried to focus on customers, but my brain only replayed her lips on mine. We pretended to be normal, stacking shelves, sweeping floors, but tension clung to everything. She laughed louder than usual at small things, like hiding the truth in plain sight. One afternoon the manager asked, "You two seem close," and my stomach dropped instantly. Sarah smiled easily. Teamwork. Like nothing was unusual, but her hand trembled slightly. Later that night she texted, "I can't stop thinking about it," and my heart exploded. I typed back, "Me neither," and stared at the screen until my chest hurt. It was dangerous, messy, but I was already in too deep to turn back. And I wasn't sure I even wanted to. A week later she suggested coffee after work, small talk covering nerves both of us felt. We sat in a corner booth, low lights, steam rising from untouched mugs. She fiddled with the straw wrapper, eyes flicking up nervously before speaking. "Logan, if this is real, we need to decide what it means." I swallowed hard, knowing she was right, but terrified of naming it out loud. "Do you regret it?" I asked, words heavier than the clinking cups around us. She shook her head instantly. "No, I just don't know how to keep it safe." I reached across the table, fingers brushing hers, ignoring the crowd, the risk, everything. Her shoulders relaxed slightly, breath shaky, as if she'd been waiting for that touch. "Then maybe," I said, "we don't keep it safe, we just keep it ours." Her lips curved into the smallest smile, but her eyes shone with something bigger. And in that dim cafe light, I realized neither of us wanted to let go. Summer nights blurred together, rooftop meetings becoming our secret routine after every shift. We'd sit close, knees touching, city buzzing below, silence saying more than words could. Sometimes we kissed quickly, nervously, other times it burned, desperate, like neither wanted to stop. Each time felt riskier, but pulling back was harder than pretending nothing happened. At work, whispers started. Coworkers joked we were inseparable, and Sarah laughed too loudly. I smiled along, but inside fear gnawed. How long before rumors turned dangerous? She texted late one night, "What if they find out?" her words shaking even through the screen. I replied, "Then we face it," but my fingers trembled hitting send. The thought of losing her job, my job, scared me more than anything. Yet every time she looked at me, steady and certain, I couldn't imagine stopping. We were playing with fire, and still choosing to walk straight into the flames. And each kiss only pulled me deeper into the danger I couldn't resist. One evening thunder rolled across the skyline, rain pouring heavy, rooftops slick under our shoes. We stood under the overhang, clothes damp, laughter mixing with storm sounds around us. Sarah's hair clung to her face, eyes brighter than lightning striking beyond the river. She grabbed my shirt, pulled me close, kissing me harder than ever before. It wasn't soft or hesitant. It was raw, urgent, like she'd been holding it in. I pressed her against the wall, rain pounding, city lights blurring into streaks around us. When we broke apart, breathless, she whispered, "I don't care anymore, Logan." Her words were defiant, fierce, but her voice shook with fear underneath. I cupped her face, forehead resting against hers, whispering, "Then neither do I." The rain drenched us, clothes heavy, but it didn't matter anymore. Because in that storm, choice was gone. We'd already crossed the line completely. And all that was left was facing what came after. After that storm, things felt different, bigger, heavier, like we'd stepped off a cliff. At work, we avoided eye contact more, but every stolen glance burned hotter than before. Managers praised us for teamwork, clueless, while under the surface we were barely holding steady. Sarah laughed nervously when coworkers teased, but her hand brushed mine behind the counter. I lay awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering how long we could last. Every risk felt sharper now, every touch a gamble with everything we'd worked for. Yet I couldn't erase her voice in the rain. "I don't care anymore, Logan." That line carved itself into me, heavier than any warning about what we might lose. By the end of the week, we both knew silence wouldn't protect us forever. Something had to give. Either we'd admit it fully or watch it collapse quietly. And deep down, I didn't know which ending scared me more. But I knew I couldn't walk away from her anymore. Our last night before fall break, we climbed the roof again, city glowing like fire. Sarah leaned against me, quiet, her hand slipping into mine without hesitation. "What happens when this ends?" she asked softly, eyes scanning the skyline nervously. I didn't answer right away, chest tight, because I didn't know either. Was this just summer heat, or the start of something we couldn't undo? I squeezed her hand tighter, whispering, "Then we decide what it means, not them." She smiled faintly, but her eyes still carried questions, fear mixing with longing. We kissed again, slower this time, softer, like testing if we could handle the weight. When we pulled apart, the city kept buzzing, uncaring, while our world balanced on silence. We sat there until sunrise, unsure if we'd built something or set it on fire. If you were me, would you risk everything for love, or step back before the fall? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.